Hello and welcome to TVB News. A man died today after being attacked by others at a Tuen Mun public housing estate in the small hours of the day. Police have arrested 4 men in connection with what authorities have classified as murder. Timothy Lee reports.
Police officers conducting an investigation at Yawa Estate in Tuen Mun. Officers stood guard at multiple entrances of Oitak House. Even food delivery men were not exempt from being checked. Authorities deployed more officers to the area at around noon after suspecting individuals involved in the case remained inside the building. Police received a report from a man at around 1:30 a.m. about his 35-year-old son having fainted inside an apartment in Oifai House not far away. The unconscious man was sent to Tuen Mun Hospital where he was confirmed dead. Sources say the man had a triad background. He was reportedly at a cooked food stall at Yawa Estate Market sometime after midnight. A dispute broke out among some people there, and he was attacked by at least 3 individuals, which led to serious injuries to the head. The man did not seek medical help and lost consciousness after returning home. Tuen Mun Hospital staff, suspicious of his cause of death, alerted the police. Reports say the man and his attackers did not know each other. Officers went to the market this morning to search for evidence. This local shop owner said some 30 officers and detectives surrounded the area throughout the morning, blocking people from entering the market. She's worried that no one could buy her goods. While this man noted the prevalence of triad activity in the neighborhood, but said the gangs do not randomly harass innocent people. A number of local residents said the neighborhood is usually safe and believe what happened today was an isolated incident. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Secretary for Justice Paul Lam said the government is planning to roll out within a year the community mediation pilot scheme proposed in the policy address. The scheme aims at promoting the public use of mediation to resolve disputes. Speaking with TVB News, Lam also touched on the potential legal and political implications of Donald Trump's return to the White House. Jackie Lin spoke with the Justice Chief.
With the latest policy rollout stipulating all government departments to incorporate mediation clauses in government contracts, Secretary for Justice Paul Lam told TVB News that the government would take the lead in promoting the public use of mediation to resolve disputes before resorting to litigation to save time and cost. They include not just business but also social disputes, including noise and water leakage issues.
At the moment, there's no legal restriction on who may act as mediator. But the thing that we're considering is to consider whether there's room to enhance the accreditation system. This is very important in order to give people the confidence in using mediation.
Another question, political implications of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House.
With the political comeback of Trump, last month, basically, the media asked him whether he'll push for the release of jailed media tycoon Jimmy Lai. He said 100% yes. What do you think about that?
No matter who is the person making this sort of statement, my answer would be the same. You can't really say something that constitutes an attempt to interfere with our judicial proceedings. That's not acceptable.
When he took office in 2016, he imposed sanctions on 11 Hong Kong officials. Any concerns?
I don't really care what sort of threats have been imposed, have been made against me.
On the case involving the Dragon Slaying Brigade's bomb plot and whether it should be directly handled by national security judges instead of through the jurors.
That the principle of the jury system in Hong Kong shall be maintained. To make the system fairer or more in a way that is more effective to ensure that justice can be done. I'm sure that there may be room for improvement, but before we consider any change, we have to think very carefully. Is there anything wrong with the existing system?
Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The Hong Kong Observatory canceled all tropical cyclone signals this afternoon, with Typhoon Yining gradually moving away from the region. It was crowded and central on Sunday afternoon. While many people are dressed in summer clothing, some put on thin jackets. The observatory said Yining will move southwest at about 12 kilometers an hour in the direction of the seas south of Hainan Island. It will weaken gradually. Meanwhile, tropical cyclone Taraji will enter within 800 kilometers of Hong Kong between Monday and Tuesday. Authorities said they would then issue the standby signal number 1. Residents should expect some showers on Wednesday and Thursday. Qatar has told Palestinian group Hamas and Israel it will stall its efforts to mediate a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. Doha officials say they will only resume their role when the two sides show genuine interest in working out a deal. More than 43,500 people in Gaza have been killed since Israel started its bombardment after the October 7th, 2023 attacks on Israeli soil by Hamas and other Palestinian groups. Around 1,200 people were killed in the Palestinian attacks and 250 others taken hostage. Nazvi Karim has more.
More than 13 months after the conflict started, the destruction of Gaza continues. Airstrikes intensifying in Lebanon, and Israelis performing their ritual weekend protests calling for the release of hostages, this week appealing directly to US President-elect Donald Trump. Israel and Hamas have failed at the negotiating table, and longtime mediator Qatar has had enough. Qatar's Foreign Affairs Ministry posted a statement on its website saying its efforts to mediate in the war has stalled, but will resume once Israel and Hamas show willingness and seriousness to reach a ceasefire and hostage deal. The ministry denied Western reports that Doha had withdrawn completely from its mediation role alongside the US and Egypt, and described as inaccurate reports that Hamas leaders have been told to leave the group's Doha political office. The US has blamed Hamas for failing to agree a deal. Hamas is steadfast in its demands that Israel end its war in Gaza and fully withdraw its forces from the Strip. In western Gaza City, the United Nations top humanitarian official for the Strip, Sigrid Kaag, visited a center for displaced people run by the body's Palestinian agency UNRWA. Israel's parliament last month banned UNRWA from its role in providing food, healthcare, education and support, with the legislation taking effect within 90 days. Israel says 11 aid trucks have been allowed into the north of Gaza. This comes days after a US deadline demanding Israel increase aid to the famine-threatened north or face a cut in weapons funding. Meanwhile, death toll rises in Gaza and Lebanon. Authorities say 16 people were killed in Gaza after Israeli airstrikes in Tufa in the east, Khan Yunis in the south, and the Al-Aqsa hospital courtyard in central Gaza. Meanwhile, 7 people were killed in the Lebanese city of Tyre. In the Arab-dominated Israel city of Al-Fan in Haifa district, people took to the streets to protest both wars. Former Knesset member Yusuf Jabarin said they want a deal in which Palestinians can have their own state beside Israel. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
A huge crowd gathered in Spain's Valencia on Saturday to protest what they say is authorities' inadequate handling of deadly floods. The worst natural disaster to Spain in recent history caused the deaths of at least 219 people, 211 of them in the Valencia region. People carried banners reading Mazón dimisión, demanding the resignation of Valencia's regional leader Carlos Mazón. Another 7 people died in neighboring Castilla-La Mancha and 1 more in southern Andalusia. Locals have expressed anger over the mismanagement and speed of authorities' response to the crisis. Thousands more lost their homes, and streets are still covered in mud and debris 11 days since the record deluge. A small group of protesters clashed with riot police in front of Valencia's City Hall after the earlier peaceful march. Society for Community Organization, or SOCO, today urged the government to improve its policy of eradicating substandard subdivided flats in the city. The organization said many subdivided unit residents worry about displacement once the policy comes into effect. Mimo Singhai reports.
In the policy address, the government said it will tackle substandard subdivided units through legislation. Authorities said those flats will be renamed as basic housing units and must be renovated to meet certain criteria, including an area of no less than 8 square meters, a separate toilet, and at least a window that is openable. A public consultation on the policy will be launched next month, as the government hopes to pass the legislation by 2025. Speaking to the media today, some subdivided unit residents mentioned their concerns about the policy. For instance, this man lives in a unit with a floor area of less than 7 square meters. He said the government should provide the grassroots with a solid relocation plan before eradicating the substandard units to avoid people becoming homeless because of a higher rent. The Society for Community Organizations said the government should set 5.5 square meters as a required area per person for future basic housing units.
Because only this we can assure the minimum standard for the housing rights. Otherwise, there could be 3%, 4% in X square meter. That will be too small and too inhuman.
Xi also called on the government to tackle cage homes, which is currently not included in the new policy. Moons 9, TVB News.
Next Sunday will be Senior Citizens Day, during which residents carrying the Senior Citizen Card can enjoy special discounts at over 2,000 restaurants and shops. The Social Welfare Department says some of the shops will offer 10% discounts. A cinema chain will offer all tickets at $30 for that day, while a number of jewelry shops will offer 30% discounts. Businesses participating in the scheme will display signs on their shops notifying customers of their special discounts. And visitors were given free entry today into the M+ Art Museum as it celebrated the 3rd anniversary of its opening. The museum recorded some 15,000 visitors as of 5 p.m. Long queues could be seen outside the museum prior to its opening at 10 a.m. Since operations began in 2021, M+ has received more than 7.2 million visitors. It was placed among the 20 most visited museums in the world and was ranked 2nd in Asia. Free admission was offered for the museum's general admissions exhibitions and public programs until 6 p.m. No reservations were required. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.